Time, motion, and space are all illusions. And here's the proof. Now, to prove that time, space, and motion are all illusions, we have to look at existence itself. Now, what is existence? Everything that exists is existence, like me, the stars, moon, earth, everything. Now, existence is full of cause and effects. There are cause and there are effects happening everywhere in existence, right? Like me speaking is an effect, and the cause is my mouth and my brain functioning together. So there are causes and effects happening everywhere in existence right now. Now, cause and effects happen in order, like chain. There is cause, then effect, then there is another cause, then there is another effect, and it's an whole chain. Now, existence is full of cause and effect, but what is the origin of existence itself? What is the origin of cause and effects, which is existence itself? Cause and effect is existence itself, right? So what is the origin of existence? What is the origin of cause and effect? Now, here are three possibilities. First is infinite cause and effects. There is no origin. There is just infinite causes and effects happening without any start point or an origin. It just a continuous loop or cycle or train of causes and effects without any start. And the second is there is an first cause, like there is an origin from which an effect came, then which then became a cause, from which another effect became. So there was an origin and then a line of causes and effects happening in an order. And third is came from nothing. There was nothing and then boom, causes and effects came from nothing. Now, which one is true? Which one is reasonable, logical? Let's see. Now let's look at the first one, infinite cause and effect. Can there be infinite causes and effects? No, because to reach the now cause, the cause which is happening right now, there cannot be infinite causes and effect before it. Before the now cause which is happening right now, there cannot be infinite causes and effects before it, because to reach this now, we have to go through finite causes and effect, right? There cannot be infinite causes and effect. If there are infinite causes and effect, we cannot reach the now cause. For example, if there are infinite steps and you have to reach the final step, you cannot reach that final steps because you have to take infinite steps to reach it, which will be impossible. There will be infinite time to reach that, meaning you will never reach it. So that's the first one. Now let's look at the third one, came from nothing. Existence came from nothing. Is that even possible? For nothing to even exist, it is nothing, it cannot exist, right? So nothing is not real, it is just a human made concept, and it is purely illogical to think that from nothing something can come, right? Nothing means there is no possibility of something coming. So nothing cannot create anything because it is nothing. There is no possibility of anything happening. So this one, third one, is also wrong. So the first one is wrong, the third one is also wrong. Now let's look at the second one. This one might seem like I'm trying to prove that God exists like a creationist, but no. Let's look at the reasoning here. First cause, meaning there was a first cause and from it every other cause and effect came. So this was the start and origin. In first and third there was no origin. In first there was infinite origins, and in third there was nothing as an origin. So both these do not make any sense. Now the second one makes sense, right? Because there has to be first cause from which every other causes came. But here are some problems with it. To be exact, two major problems with this one. This may seem right, but let's look at it. So by logic, first cause created time, motion, and change and space. But to create these things, it has to be beyond them. Why is that? Why it has to be beyond them? Because when time, let's say time, was created, before that no time can exist, right? Because when something comes before that, it does not exist. So if time was created by the first cause, then the first cause has to be timeless, right? And if space has to be created, then the first cause has to be spaceless. Makes sense. So if the first cause is beyond all these characteristics, it has to be infinite, it has to be timeless, it has to be eternal, it has to be permanent, etc. It cannot change. But here's the problem: creation or being created is time bounded, beginning and end. Beginning means creator is creating, and end means creation, created, right? So a beginning and end is what? Is time. If there is a beginning and there is an now and there is an end, which is the final result, it means it is time. Time flows linearly, right? So for time to be created by something which is timeless, it is impossible, because to be created means it is bound by time. But something which is timeless, which is the first cause, how can it create time? How can time come to existence if time did not even exist, right? For something to come to existence, for something to be created, there has to be time. But if time is created, it is not possible, because there has to be time before it for time to come, right? Creation is equal to time. So this leads to time is equal to being infinite. Time was eternal. No, this problem comes here. There cannot be infinite time. You cannot reach at now time, right? The same problem with this. In calculus, Newton proved that infinite steps can be taken. He proved it through maths. If you divide 2 infinite times, the final result, if we add all the divisions, it will lead to 2. Or if you divide 1 infinite times, if you add all the divisions, it will lead to 1. So it was proven by mathematics. And yes, it makes sense. Why? Because as you divide into smaller parts. So as thing gets smaller, 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 the steps also get smaller. But here time is not getting smaller, it is just infinite. So for time to exist infinitely, the now time, which is the now, it is impossible to reach. So Newton's calculus and mathematical proof towards infinite steps and continuous time is only true if we are dividing time into smaller chunks. But here we are not dividing time into smaller chunks. Here time is a linear without any small or any big. It is just infinite, right? Time cannot exist eternally. So this is a problem, that creation, the problem of creation. First cause, which is timeless, cannot create time because creation itself is time bounded. Now we can say the same things about motion and change, because motion and change have time in it, and speed also. We can say the same for everything which is related to time. Now let's talk about space. Is space related to time? Yes, it is. Einstein proved it. Space, time continuum. Space and time are one. It is not a separate entity. But even if, let's say, space is separate from time, it is still time bounded. Why? Because space is expanding and it bends, it contracts, it expands, right? We have seen space, we have seen how gravity affects space. So if there is change happening in space, it is also time bounded. So if something is time bounded, it cannot exist, because I just proved that time cannot exist. Or let's say something, everything is time bounded. Let's say something in the universe is not time bounded. Can it exist? If something is not time bounded, it is beyond time, it is not created, it has to be eternal, which then again comes to this existence itself, first cause. Even calling it first cause is wrong, because calling it first means it is time bounded. There is no first and there is no last. There is just existence, which is infinite, eternal, and beyond all characters we know. So with something which is not time bounded is existence itself. So yes, that is only thing that exists. Something which is not time bounded is the only thing that exists. So something which is time bounded, creation bounded, cannot exist. So does that mean our relationship, our emotions, our world, our society, everything is time bounded and is creation bounded? They do not exist. Are they all illusions? By this logic, yes. And there is another logic, which is objectivity and subjectivity. Now objectivity means one thing, one reality, and subjectivity means difference. Like I experience subjective and you experience subjective, meaning I experience different things and you experience different things. Our experiences are subjective, relative to our own selves. So a rock experiences its own subjective reality, and you experiences your own subjective reality. So subjectiveness means difference and objectiveness means one. So is there any one experience in this reality, in this universe? in our reality. Let's take an example. Let's take this board. What is the color of this board? For us, it is white. Now let's bring in a dog. Now a dog will see gray color, and let's bring a cat. A cat will see different color. Let's bring a color blind person. He will not see a color, or he will see something else. Let's bring in a blind person. He will not see a color at all. So whose perception, whose experience of color is the truth? Everyone has subjective experience of this color. So whose experience is displaying reality? Which color is the reality of this board? Is there one objective color which this board has? So you understand, right? For something to be real, it has to be objective. There has to be objective color. But we bring in different people, different animal, different objects. They all will say that this board has different color. One will say it is gray, one will say it is white, one will say there is no color. So who is speaking truth? If color is subjective, if this board has subjective color according to its experiencers like us, then there is no color. Color cannot exist if color is subjective to experiences. If there is an objective color, let's say its objective color is white, then color exists. But everyone experiences different colors. So if there is differences in experience, then it means that experience is subjective, and what is being experienced? Color. That color is subjective. Hence, if color is subjective, it cannot exist. So it has to be one color, or there is no color. Reality has to be objective. There cannot be subjective reality. Now let's take time. Instead of color, let's take time. Through general relativity, Einstein proved that time is subjective. Everyone experiences different time according to their speed and the curvature of space time. If the curvature and speed is different, the experience of time will be different. Hence, time and space time, which is one, is relative, is subjective to experiences. So, by the same logic we applied in color, we can also apply in time. If I experience time different than you, then my experience of time is subjective, and as I proved, subjective cannot be real. Reality cannot be subjective. Hence, time is not also real, is also not real. So, time either has to be objective, which it is not. It is proved through general relativity and observation of time that time is subjective, time is relative, and it is experienced differently. Hence, time is also an subjective experience. Hence, it is not real by this logic. And we can say the same for space, motion, change, and movement, everything, distance, because we experience different distance, different space, different movement, different change. So difference itself means subjectivity, and if something is subjective, it is not real. Hence, space, motion, change, time are all illusion according to objective versus subjective logical reasoning. And everything in the universe is subjective. Every experience in the universe, every point in the universe experiences subjective reality. Hence, universe itself is subjective, and hence it is not real. So first cause does not make any sense, because if there was a first cause, from it different causes came, and differences means subjectivity, and subjectivity cannot exist. Only objective reality can exist. And by the same logic, can we say there are two different realities, two different infinite characterless existence? No, because if we say two, we are making a division, and division in itself creates characteristics of distance and space. So two cannot exist. And also, if we say two, means subjectivity, differences, and differences cannot exist. Only one objective reality can exist. Hence, two existence cannot exist. Only one eternal characterless existence can exist. So instead of calling it first cause, existence seems better, because first meaning time and all, and first means differences, objective, subjective. So all these problems points at one thing, that reality is one, eternal, and beyond all character known to us. And also our universe, ourselves, experience, and experiencers are all illusions. They do not exist. Some scientific discoveries that points towards oneness, one reality, Now science is the study of this world, the study of material world. So science is the study of illusions. But if we look at some scientific discoveries, we can look past this illusion. We can look towards the truth outside of this falseness, outside of this illusion. So these discoveries help us point toward that truth, toward that one existence. So the study of illusion help us look outside of this illusion. It is ironic, but it is true. So these are some scientific discoveries. First, general relativity. It was proved by Einstein that time is relative, it is subjective. I have talked about this before in this video. So our physical laws, our laws of nature contradicting in this way means that there are gaps in reasoning, in our reality, in our physics, meaning it is a study of illusion. Now third, double slit experiment. It is a very famous experiment. I think all of you must have heard about it at least once. So double slit experiment is when a particle is measured, it behaves like a particle, but when it is not measured, it behaves like a wave. It was proved in this slit experiment. I will not explain the whole experiment, I will just explain how it it points toward one reality. So this proves that time is relative, time is subjective, and as I said before in this video, that reality cannot be subjective. So time is subjective, hence it is not real. Second is quantum physics versus normal physics. The interesting part about this is quantum physics, which is the study of smaller particles, has entirely different laws than normal physics, which is the study of larger particles like the movement of sun, earth, motion, change, etc. So quantum physics has different laws and normal physics has different laws, meaning even laws, physical laws are subjective, different. And also, if the bigger things are made of smaller things and smaller things obey different laws than bigger things, but bigger things are made of smaller things, so contradiction in these laws tells us that physical laws are also not real, because how can something follow different laws and also that same something when jumbled together follows different law? It does not make any sense, right? So this reality proved that a particle behaves both like a wave and like a particle. So how can something be both? It is contradictory, right? So a particle is both a particle and a wave. It does not make any sense. So as I proved, reality has to be objective, but in this experiment it is proved that a particle is both wave and a particle. So there is subjectivity. If we measure it, then through our observation, through subjectivity, it becomes particle, and when we do not measure it, through again subjectivity, it becomes a wave. Hence, if something is subjectivity like this particle in this experiment, it is not real. Only objective reality can exist. Black holes. Now black holes are a dense mass with a lot of gravity, and inside a black hole there is singularity, a point where everything is so dense that it bends space-time infinitely, and there laws of time, laws of change, laws of motion, laws of physics fails. So if this law, the law of physics, law of time, of everything in one place is different, does not exist, and in one place it exists, so in which place, which experiencer, the singularity which experiences different laws, or the normal world outside of it which experiences different laws, which experience is real? Again, here subjective and objective experience comes in hand. So one place there is no law, and another place there is law and subjectivity. Hence subjectivity of experience of physical laws points towards the physical laws not being real. And also by experience I mean not our kind of experience. Yes, that is also an experience, but here experience means being impacted by something. If I am impacted differently by something and you are impacted differently by something, that impact is also called experience. Here I am talking about singularity experiencing different physical laws, meaning getting impacted differently by the by those physical laws. So subjective experience by that sense. And the last one is string theory. Now when we divide something and we keep on dividing, let's say this board, we divide it, divide it, divide it, First we divide it into molecular structure, then we divide it into atoms, then we divide it into electrons, neutrons, protons, then we divide it into quarks, then we divide it into string. So string theory is this: when we divide, when we open up or get close or see the building blocks of reality, we get into one singular thing, which is string. Reality is made of strings. So in this theory also, it is leading towards oneness. Yes, it is not leading fully towards it, but somehow closely it is leading towards reality being one. Yes, string follows the laws, some laws, it is time bounded, etc., etc. But later, by advanced scientific researches, we will also find that reality is not also string, it is something beyond strings. It is one, yes, but it is beyond every characteristics. It is beyond time, space, motion, change. So all these reasonings and proofs tells us that everything, time, space, our universe, change, motion, everything that we perceive, that we experience, and everything that is experienced is an illusion. It's not real. There is just one reality, and whatever changes, whatever is time bound, whatever is creation bounded, etc., etc., are not real. Only one eternal, permanent, timeless, infinite reality exists, which is beyond all characters we can imagine. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.